is a tough street-fighting lawyer with the highest ratings for honesty and integrity. He's here for you every Saturday morning to answer your legal questions and get you the help you need. You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram of Ingram Law, live from the studios of News Radio 105.5 WERC. Call in now, 439-9372. That's 439-9372, and ask Joe your legal question, or email the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. Joe Ingram has more than 20 years experience fighting for his clients here in the state of Alabama. Joe's focus is criminal defense and family law. You don't have to face your legal issue alone. You've got Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, on your side. In case of sensitive legal matters, you can always reach out directly to Joe at joeingramlaw.com and arrange for a private consultation. And now, Birmingham's defender of the defenseless, protector of the people, and all-around good guy, Joe Ingram.
All right. It is Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. You're listening live to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. The scotch-drinking, road-running street lawyer here for you. We're back after our winter break. As we started originally, it's 28 degrees again. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be a nice warm run this morning, about 8:30 for me. We welcome you to join us and listen to the show on iHeartRadio or my podcast. We want you to be a part of this show and tune in every Saturday morning with a cup of coffee. Or if you're coming in from the bar a little late, maybe you're having that last little sip of single malt scotch. Had some really good scotch over the break in Peachtree City with the family. Great to see you. Now we're back. The circus comes to town, and a really big boy for me this week. We have court almost every day this week. All right, so we're kicking off the new year. Two good topics this morning. We just had New Year's Eve. A lot of people picked up a DUI. And as we've been teeing up the last couple of weeks, if you looked around the table, guess what? It's divorce season, folks. The happiest people at the table were the ones that are coming to see me this week that are about to file for divorce from their spouse. So we'll talk about that as well. This show is meant to be informative, educational, fun, witty, and hopefully caller-driven with your interests and local questions in mind. We encourage callers to call us, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC, FM 105.5, just off of the lovely UAB campus, Regensville, downtown Birmingham. What started out as a podcast 2 years ago in a basement is now a live radio show for the greater Birmingham market. If you need to reach us, you can email the show, questions@joeingramlaw.com, questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you have a confidential issue you do not want to discuss on the air, you can reach us at my office, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. We'll get you in. We'll talk to you. We'll get you any help that we can if I can't personally assist you with your issues. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about me. We have a potential guest at 6:25, a former client of mine is going to call in. At the top of the hour, at 7:05, we have another good guest. We have a lawyer from Indiana, does criminal defense. We're going to share some time with her and talk about representing someone charged with capital murder and all that entails. So here we go. This show is meant to give you information, give you a voice, a chance to call in and ask questions and get the help you need in your daily life to provide quality and valuable information related to criminal and family law issues. We'll be glad to discuss any legal topic that you may have. If I can't help you, we'll point you in the right direction of my vast network of colleagues and contemporaries I have developed over the years. Again, you're welcome to call in 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. Or you can email us questions@joeingramlaw.com, questions@joeingramlaw.com. A little bit about me. I have been a practicing attorney in Alabama for 22 years. Handle cases from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, even the Dothan area. If you have serious money, it's a little joke. If you're on the inside, you know what I'm talking about. We handle cases everything from juvenile. Yes, people that get charged in juvenile for stupid kid stuff that would never been a crime 30 years ago. I got 2 new juveniles this week. There's not much to it. We've made it a crime. It's sad, but we'll fix it. Their record will be sealed. Everything will be okay. We handle cases in municipal court. Those fall in the generic of DUIs, possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, maybe shoplifting from the local CVS, Walmart, Lowe's. Over the holidays, you actually picked up an item by mistake. You didn't scan it. You didn't keep your receipt. They're coming for you, folks. If you get picked up for shoplifting, give us a call. We'll be glad to represent you. We handle cases in state circuit court for felonies. Everything from simple assault, theft, burglary, serious felonies, murder, rape, robbery, sex crimes. We handle cases in federal court. Those are felon in possession of firearms, drug cases, drug conspiracy cases, fentanyl, cocaine, crack, trafficking, large amounts of heroin, marijuana. We also do a lot of hemp representation lately. There is a big misunderstanding about hemp law in Alabama. There are no statutes on the book related to hemp law in Alabama, folks. That falls under the 2018 Farm Bill, which is a federal legislation act. Hemp is not illegal in Alabama. I have lots of clients that have hemp stores. The only question is how the police officer tests it when they come look at it. If they hot test it, it's always going to test positive for marijuana. That's not how you test it. You're supposed to send it to a lab. It all falls under the percentages of THC. So if you have a hemp store or you're thinking about starting a hemp store, you need representation to help get your growing venture off the ground. Give us a call. We'd be glad to be a part of it. We also do divorce, family law. This time of year, we do a lot of divorces. It's just a fact of life. Most people wait till they get their tax check about second week in February, and they decide to get a divorce. I had 2 lovely ladies this week call me. One needed a PFA, protection from abuse order, and then we also filed for divorce for her as well and her children. We handle both contested divorces and uncontested divorces. Uncontested means you and your spouse agree on all issues. You need a lawyer to draft the documents for you. We get you both to sign them. We file them with the court. Generally within 30 to 45 days, if there are no issues, the court grants the divorce. You move on with your life. We also handle contested divorces. Contested divorces can be issues such as child support, custody, child visitation. Maybe you own a family business. Maybe your spouse is the breadwinner. He is a doctor, a lawyer. He has a pharmacy. He owns a business. He's the breadwinner. There are considerable assets at play. It's a high asset divorce. You need someone that can read tax returns to help you decide what is the real value and the assets of that marriage to divide for you for the next 20 or 30 years to get on with your life. Maybe you're entitled to alimony. Maybe you're entitled to 50% of the retirement account. If those apply to you, give us a call. We have some good guests coming over the next couple of weeks. Just as a little teaser, we have a former judge that does a lot of mediation and divorces. He is a wonderful retired judge. He's great at mediation. I got news for you folks. In today's society, almost 90% of divorce cases end in settlement negotiations or at a mediation. Very few cases make it to the courtroom today. We just have more cases than we have bodies, judges, lawyers, or time, especially in smaller counties. Jefferson County, we have 4 dedicated domestic relation judges. You don't see that in every county. We need to work on that in the judiciary system. We're still working on some segments. A quick question of the day. We're getting the music for that. And another favorite subject of mine. Joe, how do you know that? Joe, how do you know that? I get that every day, even in my office from my staff, even from my law clerk. Joe, how do you know that? Get it every day. We're teeing up those subjects. We're going to start bringing them to you here really, really soon. All right, so this is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, WERC 1055 203 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. 28 degrees. Going to be a lovely Saturday, folks. All of my fellow runners are already out there. God love you out there in Homewood and around the track shack, beating the street. You're 2 hours ahead of me. I'll be out there soon. Hopefully we're going to get our caller here in a few minutes to talk about his case. And then we'll talk to our featured guest at 7:05. Couple legal cases in the news this week that I think are really, really interesting. If you want to call in and talk about any of these, I find all of them fascinating. Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie are divorced. It only took them 8 years. 8 years to get a divorce. From what I remember, the final issue was, I think they had a wine vineyard in the south of France. Also, if I remember correctly, Angelina Jolie sold out her share to some wine company. Brad Pitt didn't like that. I don't know. I don't think either one of them missed the money. Can you imagine what the lawyers made for an 8-year divorce? $8 million apiece. $1 million a year. I am sure the clients, I'm sure the lawyers are glad to see that case go. Can you imagine billing $1 million a year for a divorce? Maybe it's a tax write-off when they finally sold the vineyard. I'm sure it was. So we can talk about the Brad Pitt Angelina divorce. Not much to talk about there. They've tried to keep it out of the news. Fannie Willis. Fannie Willis is back in the news again in a big way. She's been spanked by the appellate court. They have told her she and her office are to remove themselves from the prosecution of the Trump election case. The easiest thing to do is just step aside. Why will she not step aside? What's she hiding? Her lead prosecutor. Why was he at the White House? Why was he meeting with Jack Smith, who had a federal prosecution? What business do you have doing that? A lot to answer about there. We can also talk about the Matt Gaetz report that got released over the holiday season. Matt Gaetz was a congressman from Florida, out of the, I believe, Fort Walton area. He was on a rise to fame in Congress, had a big voice in the GOP. And there's a report out that he was having sex with 17-year-old underage prostitutes, soliciting gifts, bribes. Trump put him up to be the Attorney General of the United States. I think that was just a little bit over the top for him. I can think about 4 other people that would be better than Matt Gaetz any day to be the Attorney General. Trey Gowdy would be great. Trey would be awesome at that job. Trey should have been the FBI director. I think we're going to get Pam Bondi. I think Pam will suffice. She's Attorney General of Florida, which is a huge state, second or third largest state in the country. I think Pam will do a good job. She's a real professional. Oh, Chief Justice Roberts, Supreme Court, put out a little statement this week. Trump is coming back to town. He kind of put Trump on notice. President Trump, you're coming to town. You are the commander-in-chief of the Army, the Navy. You're the commander-in-chief of the country. Please do not attack the judiciary again. There are not Trump judges. There are not Obama judges. There are not Biden judges. They are judges. They call balls and strikes. They try to get it right every day. They have philosophical views, depending who appoints them. Most of them are pragmatics. They're not ideologues. Some of them are. I think back to the decision in 20 or 21 about the abortion decision. I think about the person that worked inside the Supreme Court that leaked that opinion, trying to scare the justices from backing off and signing it. Folks, that's not how it works in federal courts. If you are a federal law clerk to a federal judge, that is a golden ticket for the rest of your life. What happens inside the court stays inside the court. They know who did that. U.S. Marshals, you don't think they could find that person easily? Think about what you put those justices through in their home. People were marching out in their yard every day. It's a bad look. You should never, ever try to influence the judiciary or threaten them. They're doing their job. They're doing their level best to make a decision in a big, big way. I think it's wrong. So, and by the way, there was only one time that the Supreme Court a few years ago, I think it was Justice Paul Stevens, might be off on that. He tried to use a European precedent in a federal Supreme Court decision. We're not using European case law, Justice. We beat the English back under King George III. That's how we became a democracy. We're not going to follow English law anymore. I'm sorry. We're the United States. Okay, so it's 6:23. I hope you're getting up, having your first cup of coffee. If you're getting in from the bar, folks, get home, get an Uber. I hope you got your tree down. It's January the 4th. We're back. It's a live show. They let us back in the studio. Yes, for you. We got someone coming around, maybe around 6:25. Good guess for you. And give us a call, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. Or you can email us, questions@joeingramlaw.com, questions@joeingramlaw.com. You can look us up on the web, joeingramlaw.com. You can call the office, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590, if you have a confidential issue that you do not want to discuss on live radio. We'll be glad to talk to you. If we need to, we'll meet with you. We'll get you in. We'll talk about your case. My office handles criminal cases, divorce cases. And we handle employment law cases if we need to. And if we can, we'll get you in. We'll help you. And if you have a plaintiff case, car wreck, tractor trailer, negligence, tort claim, if I can help you, I have some really good connections that work plaintiff firms. We'll get you in. We'll get you the help that you need. We referred somebody last week on a case. So I think we have a caller about to join us. Greg, are you there?
Yes, Joe. Good morning.
Greg, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
It's early, Greg.
Everything good? That's good.
Greg, you're in South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
You're an hour. Don't say sorry to me, Greg.
I know, Joe. I'm sorry.
You're an hour ahead of me.
Yep.
Yep. Well, Greg, did you have a happy Christmas and a happy New Year?
Yes to both, and it's going to be a great year.
It is. 2025 is going to be a big, big year.
Joe, you know it, you know.
You sound kind of tired this morning, Greg.
No, it's just a busy day yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, what you got to share with us this morning?
Just thank you for your awesome defense of me. Traveling back and forth, you're always respectful. You did a fantastic job. There was a lot. It was very tiring most of the time, but you took very good care of me.
Well, you're welcome.
Very professional, very just to the point, precise about everything. You didn't if I went sideways a little bit, you're like, hey, come on, man,
Yeah. Hey, Greg.
I understand. I'm sorry. I'm not a big talker kind of like a guy, but
yeah. Greg, we're going to go to break here in 3 minutes. Just to let everybody know, not to get too personal, you got charged with a Class A felony, aggravated child abuse.
Yes, sir.
And a serious case. You were looking at 10 to 99 years in the state penitentiary.
Correct.
And for you, at your age, you're about my age, that'd been lifetime sentence if you'd really gotten tattooed in court.
I'm sorry?
I said you would have really gotten tattooed if you had gotten sentenced in court.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're going to go to the break here in about 2 minutes, but when we come back, I just want you to briefly share, not names or persons or places too much, just talk a little bit about what happened, what was the outcome in your case, and I think we had a remarkable verdict for you. You're a free man. You're on unsupervised probation in free South Carolina, living the dream in that beautiful state. So we're going to go to the break, Greg. We'll be back at about 6:35, and we'll tee you up, and we'll talk about it, okay, if you want to.
Yeah, sounds great.
And,
yes, sir. Joe, sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. Just call me Joe, Greg. Just call me Joe.
Always did.
Yeah, I know.
When you yell at me,
I never yell at you. Never yell at you. It's really stressful.
Right.
In your life.
You're awesome. That's all I got.
You're awesome. All right, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Greg about his aggravated child abuse case that we got down to a misdemeanor, and he's a free man. We'll be back. It's 6:29 in Birmingham. Wake up, folks. Have a cup of coffee. Join us. The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Scotch drinking, running street lawyer. We'll be back.
You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. If you need confidential legal help off air, reach out to Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Stay tuned for more. Joe will be right back after this break for news and weather on News Radio 105.5 WERC. You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. Joe is a 20-year veteran of the Alabama courts, specializing in criminal defense and family law. Call in live with your questions now at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or write Joe with your question for the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, email Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Now, welcome back to The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
All right. We're back. It's 6:35, Saturday morning, January the 4th, 2025. It's about 29 degrees outside. It's going to be a beautiful day. 105.5 FM, WERC, just off the campus of UAB. This is The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer, here for you to talk about your legal needs. We want you to be a part of our show and your Saturday morning routine with your cup of coffee. If you're coming in from the bar, get an Uber. If you got the tree up, please get it down. We're going to go back to Greg here in just a second. We had a question come in from a caller on our email line. What are the initial steps to file for divorce? I'm lost. I don't know what to do first, but I'm ready to begin. We get those questions every day. First is you call a lawyer, maybe me. We will get your name. We'll get your spouse's name. We will run a conflict check to make sure that we've never represented your spouse, that we're free of conflicts. We will email you an intake form. We can either meet with you by Zoom or we'll do an in-person consult. Your divorce may be contested or uncontested, depending on whatever issues you may have, how long you've been married, what your assets are. Do you have children, custody, child support, high asset divorce? Division of assets, division of property, IRAs, retirement accounts, stock accounts. Maybe you have a beach house, lake house. If it's uncontested, those can go by really fast, really easy, non-adversarial. Those also can be very contentious. The two biggest battles I ever fight are a battle for custody of a child and a battle for someone's life, going to prison. And now we're going to go back to Greg, who was facing that serious battle of maybe going to prison for life for aggravated child abuse in his situation. Greg, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Greg, don't give too much away about family. What happened to you? What'd you get charged with?
I got charged with hurting my grandson.
Aggravated child abuse.
Taking baby. You know that they want to put me in jail for life, basically. And with all your diligent work, and it all got settled down to unsupervised probation, 2 years, $150 fine, $50 for relief fund, and court costs. So I went from looking at life to what I just said.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm gonna have a great life. I get to enjoy my grandkids. Everybody knows the whole story, and all I got to say is thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm not a man of words, kind of. So.
Yes, you are, Greg. You're a little shy this morning.
Right, thank you. Always have been, but I always like people tell me stuff, and I just kind of like, okay. This Joe, when you and me talking, like, I know you're on the radio, whatever, but you did an awesome job.
Well, thank you.
You know, we talked. My son, we went back and forth from South Carolina to Alabama. I don't know what to say. This is the first time I've ever been on a radio podcast, whatever. And thank you. You're the best. Really, people need to know that.
Well, thank you.
I'm not. Just thank you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we had the tremendous outcome that we had. And Greg, how long did it take us to work your case? Because we worked it really hard.
It was about a year.
About a year.
You said it could have dragged on. You said it could have dragged on because of you got to wait for this, you got to wait for that, you got to wait for this, and you pushed it through. So it wasn't as stressful more stressful as it could have been.
Yeah,
I guess
We had a private investigator that worked your case.
Yes, sir.
That really helped us in a really big way. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
That tape of the investigator with the family member really shaped the way that case was going to go with the DA's office. They knew it was not a really good case for them. In fact, they knew they probably had a really, really bad case.
Correct.
Yeah. And so...
But you're the guy who hired the investigator. It's like... you're so... you're very good, Joe. Sounds kind of corny, whatever, but... Thank you.
You're very welcome. When you sent me your text on New Year's Eve, I was out with some friends, and it made me very happy, Greg. I hope you have a awesome 25. You're free
It will
now.
be.
This is not hanging over your head anymore. You can move forward in a really big way with your family.
The people who are listening have to understand the weight of the world on you, and you have to go about your daily life, and it's really hard to do. And I'm from Chicago, so we just kind of suck it up and move forward, but it takes a toll. Thanks, Joe. The weight of it's like the sun is shining again. That sounds weird again, but I just when you asked me to come on this podcast, it's just it was yes. It was wasn't even I'll think about it.
Wow. I appreciate your time this morning, Greg, and I appreciate your kind words. And I'm so grateful.
In my eyes, you're a rock star, and that's a compliment I don't pass out very often to anybody.
Wow. Checks in the mail, Greg. Thank you. You and your family have a happy new year. You stay in touch with me, young man. Let me know how you're doing.
Yes,
and
I will.
If you ever get back to Birmingham, please come see me.
I will.
Okay.
By the way, just so you know, my daughter and I, we talk every day. You told us not to, and we didn't most of the time, but so I'll be back there. I will definitely stop by your office.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to move past this, put your family back together. Maybe in time.
It's the best.
Maybe in time, everything will heal, work itself out. And I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of what happened in your case, Greg. And thank you for entrusting me with your case. That is an awesome responsibility when someone's facing a Class A felony of looking at real serious state penitentiary time in an Alabama state penitentiary. Thank you for entrusting me and letting me be a part of your journey for your freedom. I mean
that. Joe, you're the best. We'll end it there.
All right.
You were very diligent, very friendly, very texting me, hey, you doing okay today or this week, whatever. It sounds like a stupid commercial, whatever, but it's the truth. Thank you.
Thank you,
Joe.
You're welcome. Greg, take care, okay? Be good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll be seeing you.
All right. I'll be
It'll
looking
be on
forward
a
to it.
friendly, I'll buy lunch too, just so you know, this time.
I'll let you buy lunch because I don't have any money. All right.
You have
Be
a great
good.
day.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, roll tide.
Roll Tide. That's right. There's Alabama. Okay,
That's right.
6:45. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer, coming to you from 105.5 FM WERC, just off the campus at UAB. It's about 30 degrees outside. They're saying it's going to snow next Saturday, folks. I don't believe it. They say it every week in January. It's going to snow to sell milk and bread. That's all it is. Sell milk and bread, and James Spann gets to be on TV, wall to wall. Before we talked to Greg, we talked about uncontested divorces. I want to talk to you a little bit about, we got a case this week, divorce by publication. Joe, what is a divorce by publication? Well, your spouse has left the home, probably left the state. You have no idea where they are. You haven't seen them in more than a year. I had one of those cases this week. Mr. Ingram, I need to get a divorce. My spouse has gone to Tennessee. What do I do? How long they been gone? That person's been gone for about 18 months. Okay, we'll file a divorce by publication. We file a complaint. It gets published in a paper of general circulation for 4 consecutive weeks. No one files an answer to the divorce claim. No one contests it. We file a motion with the court for a default judgment. We go to court. Judge takes some testimony from you, the plaintiff, in the divorce case. Basic questions. Are you a resident of the county? Have you been for more than 6 months? Are you 19 years of age? Are you of sound mind? Do you have any property to divide? When's the last time you saw your spouse? Is this their last known address? Yes. Are you asking the court to award you a divorce? Yes. You're divorced. Go forward, send no more. Before you get remarried, come and talk to me. File a prenup the second time. I've done a bunch of postnups here lately. I've done 2 this week. Both of those involve cases where one spouse had been unfaithful, infidelity. They wanted an insurance policy if they're going to continue the marriage. If you need a prenup or a postnup, come see us. We do those as well every week. I have seen more prenups in the last year. Usually prenups fall in the category of second, third marriage. You want to protect the assets that you built for your children, your family, your heritage, your lineage. And you don't want the second wife or the second husband to get what you built for your children. That's a good thing. Happens every day. We are seeing more prenups for first marriages. Joe, why is that? Well, here's one good reason. Some people are waiting later to get married. A lot of people are, actually, because they go get a career. They go to college. They start their career. Some people are even having children before they get married now. It's kind of a new trend. Not sure what's in the water. That's kind of how things are shaking out. But you may come into the career, to the marriage with a career, some assets. Maybe you have a real estate portfolio. And you just want to protect what you've already built. You're not saying that you don't love your spouse. You're just saying if it goes south, you don't want to pay me for a divorce for 2 or 3 years. And heaven forbid you stay married 10 years. And then you're looking at having to give 50% of your assets away in a divorce. Maybe, depending on who is the breadwinner, who has more income. So we're seeing a lot more prenups this time of year. We also do a lot of adoptions. We do step-parent adoptions. Folks, if you're remarried, been married for a year, The ex-spouse does not object. You don't even have to do a home study. We can do a step-parent adoption. You can adopt your stepchild. We do a lot of step-parent adoptions. Grandparent adoptions. We do an awful lot of grandparent adoptions. Sometimes those fall in the category of, unfortunately, it's sad but true, one or both of the biological parents may be going to prison, going to jail, has a drug problem, alcohol problem, not able to raise that child. The grandparents are the better fit to raise the children. Happens every day. We do those all the time. So if you need a step-parent adoption, grandparent adoption, give us a call. We can help get you set up, take care of the grandkids, and facilitate that as well. It's 6:51 on Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. We're back for our third live show. Yes, they let us back in the radio studio again. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch Drinking Road Running Street lawyer. That'll be hitting the street here at about 8:30 for a chilly run. Be about 30 degrees outside. It'll be sunny. We'll put some mitts on. We'll be good. We'll get our 8 to 10 miles in. If you have questions, you can email the show, questions@joeingramlaw.com, questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you have a question you want to call in, talk on the radio about any of the news cases we talked about, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. If you have a confidential issue that you need to talk about with us off the air, you can call the office this week, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. If you need to talk to us on a Zoom call or a call at the office about an issue you don't want to talk about on live radio. We're hoping to have a guest here at 7:05. Great lawyer out of Indiana, going to talk about a capital murder case. Her client was charged with shooting a police officer. It was a pretty big case up in Indiana. She did a really good job in her defense. Looking forward to visiting with her. So we talked about the cases in the news this week. We got the Brad Pitt, Angelina divorce. 8 years. 8 years to get divorced. Surely the lawyers have made enough money by now. They're probably sad it's over. They're probably glad to close the file too. We got Chief Justice Roberts that has put Trump on notice that he's back in town. Hey, do not bash the judiciary. We're not Trump judges. We're not Obama judges. We're judges. We call balls and strikes. We try to get it right every day. You're not always going to agree with us, President Trump. Sometimes your cabinet wins. Sometimes your cabinet heads lose in legal battles. But don't bash us. We're just doing our job. Fannie Willis is in the news. Always love to spank Fannie. What is she hiding? Why is she meeting with a federal prosecutor? Bad case. She needs to step aside if she wants to stay the DA in that county. Something tells me she may have opposition next time around. Matt Gaetz. The Matt Gaetz report got out. I think he thought if he became the Attorney General, there's sort of an inside ball game. If you're in Congress and then you go try to get in the administration, you sort of get a pass. Kind of like Jeff Sessions when he was working the first time around for President Trump. They thought they were going to trash him. The Senate Judiciary Committee did not do that to him. They were a little rough on him on the left side of the aisle, but by and large, he passed muster. I think the most contentious hearings may be Pam Bondi. I think that'll be contentious. I think Marco Rubio is going to not have any problem getting through the Senate confirmation hearing. I think that'll be easy for her. The other tough ones may be Tulsi Gabbard. I like Tulsi. She's pragmatic. From Hawaii. Served in the military. Served the country. Thank you for your service to our country. Now she's going to run national intelligence. I think she'll do a good job. DNI. That is a big, big job. You're always on the clock. Not sure I want that job. Not sure it's worth the money. But I think she'll do really good at it. I really do. In a big, big way. We've got some really good people stepping up. We've got the former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee. Been to a show a couple times up in Franklin, Tennessee. Lovely show. He's got a great gig. He's going to be the ambassador to Israel. Not sure I want to go there right now. Now, it's super safe for him. They have the Iron Dome over Israel. I don't think he's going to have to worry about somebody bombing his house. It's a rough neighborhood. And by the way, we're back on the scene in a big, big way January 20th. Yep, Alabama, the United States is the superpower. They need us. And we're there. Just got a question. This is a very interesting question. Have two of these cases. Pornography on a phone. What happens when I get arrested for having pornography on my phone? Folks, we're going to go to break here in just a minute, and hopefully we're going to visit with our lawyer from Indiana about the case. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the road-running, scotch-drinking street lawyer here for you, fighting crime every day for you in a big way. Wake up, Birmingham. Have your coffee.
There's another hour
We'll be back.
of the Legal
All right.
Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram, heading your way. You can ask your question live on the air at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or send Joe your question for air via email at questions@ingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, contact Joe directly at joeingramlaw.com. Stand by for more of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram right after news and weather on News Radio 105.5 WERC. He's a tough street-fighting lawyer with the highest ratings for honesty and integrity. He's here for you every Saturday morning to answer your legal questions and get you the help you need. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram of Ingram Law, live from the studios of News Radio 105.5 WERC. Call in now, 439-9372. That's 439-9372, and ask Joe your legal question, or email the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. Joe Ingram has more than 20 years experience fighting for his clients here in the state of Alabama. Joe's focus is criminal defense and family law. You don't have to face your legal issue alone. You've got Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, on your side. In case of sensitive legal matters, you can always reach out directly to Joe at joeingramlaw.com and arrange for a private consultation. And now, Birmingham's defender of the defenseless, protector of the people, and all-around good guy, Joe Ingram.
All right. We're back. Second hour, third show, January 4th, 2025. The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the scotch-drinking, road-running street lawyer here for you every Saturday morning, WERC, to talk about your legal needs. We got a great guest coming up right now. We have a lawyer from Indiana. She's a criminal lawyer. I think she's about to join us. Denise, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yep, I'm here.
Denise, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. What's the weather like in Indiana today?
It is very cold today.
What is very cold in Indiana?
It's 14 degrees. Feels
Whoa.
like 6.
Denise,
Yes.
do you love it up there?
I'm going to say not this morning, but in general, yes.
I've been close to Indiana. I've been to Louisville, Kentucky a few times. That's about as close as I've been to Indiana.
That's close.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Okay. Denise, tell my audience a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. I am a criminal defense attorney. I primarily practice out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been practicing for 14 years. I do part-time public defender work out of the small county of Lawrence County. I also do federal appointed cases, and I also do death penalty work as well as life without parole cases.
Yeah. What did you do before you practiced law, Denise?
Before I practiced law, I actually worked for Lockheed Martin down in Florida.
Wow. What did you do there?
My background's in computer science, so I worked for Lockheed Martin in their information systems section, and I was a project manager.
Wow. Okay. Well, we have a mutual friend. They said, "Hey, these two need to get together and talk about a particular case you had." I got to spend a little time with you yesterday. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time this morning. You're Eastern, so you're a little ahead of us here in Birmingham.
Yes.
What you want to talk about this morning, Denise? What's your flavor of your case you want to talk about?
Well, I think lately there's been a lot of discussion, particularly in Indiana, about death penalty cases. And so that's one of the cases I wanted to talk about this morning was my first death penalty case I ever worked on.
Okay. How long ago was that?
That case happened in 2017 is when the incident happened, and the case went to trial in February of 2022.
Took 5 years.
Yes. Yes.
Were you first chair or second chair?
I was first and only chair for a very long time.
Oh, really? Does Indiana have a law that there has to be 2 lawyers on a capital murder death penalty case?
So Indiana has, it's not a law, it is a rule that there has to be at least 2, but that law only applies if counsel is appointed. Does not apply if counsel is
retained
privately.
Yeah. And you were appointed?
I was not.
You were retained?
I volunteered to do the case pro bono.
Pro bono? A capital murder case?
Yes.
Denise, you're a sadistic person.
I'm a unicorn is what I like to say.
Oh, Denise, we got to talk. Surely to God, you filed some motions in a capital murder case. People don't understand. It's a lot of pressure. It could come back on you for life. Every issue.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Did you get court appointed experts if you needed them? Did the court give you that?
The court, initially the court gave us money for experts. However, the purse strings were very tight. We had a very tight, almost impossible budget to work with. And that was in the first probably 3.5 years. And then the latter half of the case, we ended up in a different court with a different judge who understood that we needed the resources and was more open to giving us the money that we needed.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your case, your client that you had to defend, charged with capital murder. What was it about?
Sure. So July 27th, 2017, my client, his name is Jason, he was involved in a car accident. He had ended up rolling his car 2 or 3 times, and he ended up upside down in someone's front yard. He did have a passenger. The passenger was able to get out safely. But my client was trapped in the car. He was upside down, hanging from the seatbelt. Officers arrived to assist in this personal injury accident. One officer ended up crawling in the back seat on his belly and trying to sort of comfort my client and trying to make him know that everything was going to be okay. They were there to help him. My client was very much out of it. He had suffered a traumatic brain injury from the accident. My client just sort of flipped out and ended up drawing his weapon and firing at the officer and killing him.
Mm. So, is that what I would imagine in a capital murder case? Is that why it took so long? It probably took a while for he to be considered competent to stand trial. Was that one of the issues?
That was not one of the issues. He was definitely competent. One of the things that we spent a lot of time working on was what was his brain functioning like at the time of the accident. We also believe that he had a seizure which caused the accident. So there are a lot of sort of things going on with his brain, but once the accident was over, he eventually sort of recovered. His brain got better. So there wasn't really an issue of competency. The case did last quite a while because there was a lot of fight over who would represent Jason, if I could continue to do it, or if the court should step in and appoint counsel. And then we also got caught in the middle of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So that also slowed things down. Yeah.
What made you decide to do this pro se in a big case like this? What drew you in for this, Denise?
Well, I left the public defender's office in December of 2016, and that was going to be my whole life, was being a public defender. All I ever wanted to do was help poor people because I felt like the people that needed the most help were the people that couldn't afford it. And so that was going to be my whole life, being a public defender. So when I left the public defender agency in Indianapolis in 2016, I really felt very lost. I didn't really like private practice. I didn't like chasing money. I didn't like feeling like I couldn't do my best work if a client couldn't afford it. And so I was really not happy with my life and needed a reason to get up in the morning. And when this case came about, it spurred something in me. Like, I can do this. I'm a very experienced trial lawyer. I've done tons of murder cases. I'm very familiar with this court and this prosecutor. This seems like the right case for me to do because someone just deserves a good lawyer. And there were a lot of things that went into it, but I said, I know that the court will have to give me money for experts and things. So really it's just my time. And I know that I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to learn how to be a better lawyer, a better person. And so ultimately I decided to take the case on pro bono, knowing that I was going to get more out of it as a person and a lawyer than, any amount of money could be.
Yeah. Did your client sit in jail for 5 years, or did he get a bond?
Well, in murder, if you're charged with murder, it's automatically no bond.
Yeah.
So he sat in jail, and it wasn't even jail. He was actually housed in the Indiana Department of Corrections. He was housed in the prison because the police officer was very well known in the county, and they had safety concerns about my client being in the county jail. So he was actually held at the prison for 5 years pending trial.
So this case got a lot of publicity, I would think.
Yes, it did. It did.
Okay. Maybe you got some publicity out of doing God's work, representing somebody for free for the most serious crime on the planet.
That was never in my calculus. It was never oh, well, you'll get a lot of, publicity, your business will grow. That was never part of the calculation. And quite frankly, whenever the media contacted me, I was like, I don't have anything to say. I don't want to talk to the media. I'm just trying to do my work. I'm just trying to take care of this guy, get him the best possible outcome. And when people found out that I had taken the case pro bono, I got a lot of pushback from the legal community, the defense community, because they thought exactly that. They thought, well, she's just trying to boost her business. She's just trying to get publicity. And these are coming from people that really didn't know me or my heart, because I really wasn't ever a part of it. It was really genuinely a very altruistic thing where I wanted to just do something good for someone just because I could, just because they deserved it.
Good for you. Good for you. How long did the trial last?
So we ended up making an agreement with the state where they would agree to dismiss the death penalty if we waived our right to a jury trial and had a trial in front of the judge instead.
Yeah.
They would still pursue life without parole, but they would take death off the table, which in a capital case, that's like your number one goal, right, is to get death off the table in some form or fashion. So that was sort of our first win. And so we ended up having the bench trial. The trial lasted about 6 days. Lots of media there, packed courtroom, lots of police officers. So it was a shorter trial than it would have been if it would have been a jury trial.
How did you get the state to agree to take the death penalty off the table? There had to be some mitigating evidence for you to do that, or was it just they didn't want to spend the money on that kind of trial? What was the factor that you got to do that?
There were a lot of mitigating circumstances in the case. I mean, from the beginning, I didn't really think this was even a murder case because it was clear that my client really had no idea what was going on. Everything was on body cam because the officer was wearing a body cam. So we were able to see what was happening, how my client was acting. We had some nurses that were on the scene initially who described my client as being in and out of consciousness, incoherent. So we knew that there was some mitigation in terms of just the facts of the case and whether or not the state could even prove this was a murder, first of all. And then when we started to look at my client as a person, he had almost no criminal history. He had a previous misdemeanor conviction for possession of spice from a few years prior, and that was it. Otherwise, he was a tattoo artist. He was a working dad. He had his own place, had a permit to carry the firearm, was really just your average guy. And so I had talked with the state extensively about, look, first of all, the facts of your case, you're probably not going to get a death sentence or even a murder conviction, number one. And even if you do get a conviction, my client's background is such that he's very, very unlikely to get even a death sentence. So, what are we doing here? And I think the state understood the challenges with the case and the issues, and that's why they ultimately agreed to, okay, well, we'll dismiss the death penalty if you waive and have a bench trial, but we're still going to pursue life without parole.
Yeah. I would imagine here in Alabama, I have a case like that right now. I have a manslaughter case up in Coleman. Did the family have to sign off on taking that card off the table, or did the state just do it on their own merit, or do you know?
So my understanding of how the state works here is they will consult with the family, but ultimately the decision is up to the state. Yeah. So I don't know how the family felt about the jury waiver. I'm sure that the prosecutors talked with them about it, but at the end of the day, the prosecutors were going to do what they thought was best for the case from their perspective.
But it was high profile because you got a police officer, a person of the blue, that's protect and serve the public community. I'm sure there was a lot of public outcry in this.
Yes, and particularly because this officer was doing exactly what we wanted our police officers to do. He was responding to a personal injury accident. He was truly there to help. And this is what ends up happening to him. And so there was a lot of negativity just because he was like our ideal officer. And there was a lot of media attention about the officer and the fact that he had just walked his 5-year-old son to his first day of school that morning. And, what a great and respected officer he was. So, yeah, there was a lot of negativity from the public because of who the officer was and the role that he played in this particular case.
A lot of drama. Was he a young officer?
Yes. No, I believe he was in his late 30s. He had been an officer for a while. And at the time, he was a part-time officer for a very small police department. He had also been a resource officer at the local high school and had been a deputy at the county. I mean, he had been in law enforcement for quite some time.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the result, Denise, in your case? What happened?
We had the bench trial. After the state presented their case, I made a motion to dismiss the state's request for a life without parole sentence. Because in Indiana, in order to get either a death sentence or a life without parole sentence when there's a police officer involved, the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the person knew the person knew the victim was a police officer. So because there was no evidence that my client knew it was a police officer, officer's on his belly, you can't see his uniform, he doesn't announce himself, the judge ended up granting my motion and dismissing the state's request for a life without parole sentence. So the trial went pretty well, I thought. Everything was pretty consistent with what our defense case was, but ultimately, the day of the verdict, courtroom was packed with police officers, media, and the judge ends up basically saying that my client had to be held accountable for what happened. And so he ended up convicting my client of murder and sentenced him to 58 years.
Wow. How old is he?
How old?
Was your client?
He was 26 at the time. So we actually got the verdict. It was on his birthday, actually. Yep.
I don't know Indiana law, so forgive me for asking the simple questions. I would imagine you don't get good time in prison for murder in Indiana.
You do. You have
do?
to serve 75% of your time. Yes.
Oh, okay. So he may see the light of day.
Yes. And he also had a lot of credit time because he'd been held for
5 years.
5 actual years.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think what the judge did, if I remember this correctly, it was a 58-year sentence with 3 years suspended to probation. So that left 55 years to serve.
Yeah.
And he would have to serve 75% of that, which is 41 years. He had already served 5. So about 34, 35 years is what he would have left to serve as of 2022. So yes, and he's still a young guy. He's early 30s. So yes, he will get out eventually. Yes.
Did you do an appeal in this case?
His case was appealed. I did not handle the appeal. I lived with the case for 5 years, and it was overwhelming. So the public defender took over on the appeal. We lost the appeal, and he's currently working on post-conviction relief.
Yeah. Well, in those kind of cases, high stakes, a lot of drama, a lot of factors at play. People don't understand. You did the best possible result. You got him a win. You saved his life. He's going to see the light of day if he lives long enough. He may actually see freedom in his 60s or 70s.
And, a lot of people have that same sentiment that this was a win, that I saved his life, but I really count it as one of my greatest losses.
Yeah. We remember the losses more than we do the wins, don't we?
Yes. Those are the ones that stick with us, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you learn every time from the loss. And if you're a good street lawyer, you come back next time and you learn, you adapt, you overcome, and you achieve for the better result the next time. You learn every time from every case.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's you. I think you have that sentiment.
I do. I certainly do.
You said you believe in unicorns and tooth fairies doing capital murder cases for free. Denise?
I do.
Do not call me to do a free capital murder case.
Got it.
Denise, thank you so much for being a part of my show this morning. I really enjoyed your conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're a lovely lady. I hope I get to meet you someday. I hope you come to Alabama. I'm never coming to Indiana.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
But you are a great, true criminal lawyer. You are the essence of what we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Well, thank you for being a part of our show. I'm going to give you the last word. We got about 2 minutes, Denise. Anything you want to share with Birmingham?
No, but thank you, Birmingham, for listening. And
Denise,
so early
you may get somebody driving through up there trafficking drugs, and they're going to hire you because you were on the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
Man, I hope so. I would be happy to help, but, maybe not for free. But
no more free cases for Denise.
Right.
All right.
Thanks for a little bit.
Denise, I'll talk to you soon. You have a great weekend, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Thanks.
bye-bye.
You too, Joe.
All right,
bye-bye.
That was a lovely call with Denise Turner, Indiana lawyer, does capital murder cases for free. God love her. You ever had the stress of that? The publicity? The stakes are high. Somebody may go get the chair, get the needle. God love her. We're going to go to a break here in about 2 minutes. This is Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer, here for you to talk about criminal law, family law cases every Saturday, live, 105.5 WERC. You can call us 205-439-WERC, 205-439-9372. If you have a question, questions at joeingramlaw.com, questions at joeingramlaw.com. We're going to go to break. It's 7:29, folks, in Birmingham. We're fixing to get to the last half hour of the show, third show. Come back and join us. We'll be back. Bye.
You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. Joe is a 20-year veteran of the Alabama courts, specializing in criminal defense and family law. Call in live with your questions now at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or write Joe with your question for the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, email Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Now, welcome back to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
All right, we're back at 7:36, January 4th, 2025. It's about 29 degrees outside, folks. Third edition of the Legal Lowdown. Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer, here for you to talk about divorce and criminal law every Saturday, or any legal issue you have for that matter. In New York, it's 8:36. London is 1:36. Paris, 2:30. Beijing, 9:36. Tokyo is 10:30 at night. We have a caller. Rennie is on the line. Rennie, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Rennie. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Good. What's your story this morning, Rennie?
Okay, so I want to get some closure with you because obviously it probably doesn't do me any good now. But I was going to work at 6:45 on a Sunday morning. I'm a caregiver, and the way I needed to go, I believe it's north, but anyway, north and south was the road I was on, and there was a train on the tracks, and so I had to turn around, go to the light, and turn left, and you have this big way that you have to go around. The light wouldn't turn, so I had to turn right on the light and on the red light, and then I wanted to make sure. Even though there was nobody around, it was pretty close to a police station down the road, so I figured somebody might be around someplace. So I wanted to make sure that when I was in the middle lane, I was in the exact place I should be, because, right up near the light is always usually something designated for like a left turn. So when I turn right, if there's nobody around, I immediately start going into two lanes instead of just one, kind of diagonal into the second lane. And so I was getting ready to turn into the middle lane when all of a sudden, and like I said, there was nobody around on any side of the intersection but me. And all of a sudden I could feel this smack. My bumper went flying, and I went, oh my God, I got hit. And in the next thought, I was flung over to the other side of the road, to the right of me, and my wrist was dangling, and I was in horrible pain. But so, like I said, there was nobody around when the police came. he asked me what happened. I told him what I just told you. That's all I said because that's what he asked me. So he wrote on the report that I said I did not see her, so I hit her, which was an impossible situation that I would have hit her if you look at the damage and everything like that. So, the collision place that I took the vehicle got towed to, he said that he would not fix the vehicle because I was pleading with him to fix it because they deemed it my fault. I had then, of course, the insurance didn't pay for it, and I had full coverage, but I was shocked at how little they give you for your vehicle. And so I was begging him the collision owner to please fix the vehicle for how much they were giving. And he said, okay, well, let me check it out myself. And so when he did, he came back to me and he said, I would not fix that vehicle if somebody gave it to me, because the impact that girl hit me with in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, it was so strong. And really, I guess I had some heavy-duty tires on. I guess, thank God, she hit me on the tire. But he said that, and I'm not sure the right word, whatever it is that holds your whole vehicle, the metal works underneath
the frame,
holds everything together. Yeah, I guess that's the right word. He said it was totally destroyed.
How long ago this happened? How long ago this happened, Renee?
It happened last February.
February of 24?
Yes, and I did not fight it because the police not only said that, because I called him and I said, now the girl supposedly said she didn't even know where I came from. Now, mind you, there was nobody around but me. But when she talked to the insurance people, she said exactly what the police said, which then they deemed that she must know what she was talking about. She said what the police said. And nobody would believe me. Everybody treated me like I was like some kind of scoundrel or something. And
what time of day this happened?
6:45 in the morning, with nobody around. When I called,
let me ask
police,
you this, Rennie. Let me ask you some questions and drill down here. See if I can help you.
I just have one thing to tell you what the police said, which is the clincher.
Okay.
When I called the police to tell him, I read your report. It's not true. I didn't tell you this, and that didn't happen. And this is what happened. He said, you did what I did, and I was deemed guilty, so are you. Now, mind you, nobody was around. He obviously had something that he did, and he had a vindictive attitude, and he obviously was uptight that the judge, ruled against him. So he was going to rule against me. He was going to be my judge and jury. So I was afraid of somebody that would be like that, so I didn't even bother fighting. That's the end of my story.
Well, you still have time.
What do you think you would have done?
You still have time. Do you have the police report? Did the lady have insurance?
I have the police report. She has insurance. She got when I brought all these facts up, especially the impact and the way the police report said it, and what the damage of my vehicle, how that was not possible. Everybody in my insurance company just basically threw me under the bus, and they handed me from one person to the other. When they handed me to the top girl that had taken over it, she basically said, "Shut up and sit down." You should just be thankful we're taking the liability for you, because she has a lawyer. So obviously she took the report and what was going to be in her favor and ran with it, and everybody believed her.
So what you're telling me is that she got a claim against your insurance company for damages.
She did.
Did you go to the hospital? Did you have any physical injuries?
Oh yeah, my wrist was dangling. Yeah.
Renee, you need to call my office Monday. Okay. We need to look at this case one more time from another angle.
Okay.
You can look us up, joeingramlaw.com, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. Renee, if you'll call me Monday, we'll get you in. We'll look at it. maybe we can get you some help that you need. Okay?
All right.
And if you do that, I'll be glad to talk to you. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. I had a perfect record before that. So now I have to pay, of course, the increased,
There may have been
insurance
cameras in the
and
area,
everything.
Rennie.
There
There may be
I mean,
video footage cameras still.
there was, and I realized, oh my gosh, this got done in front of a bank. So I called them and I said, do you think it would have showed the street that? And they said, very possibly, but you have to call the police. And so I thought, oh great. So when I called the police, they wouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Of course not. So
Well, we need to look at this one more time. I know some really good plaintiff lawyers that I work with. We might be able to help you. Okay?
all right.
Were you on the job?
I wasn't, because when you're a caregiver, you don't clock in till you get there.
But did you work for a company?
I did work for a company, but they don't take liability until you're on the job.
I don't know. Rennie, you may have a workers' comp claim. You're driving to work to do a job. We'll just have to look in and see. I don't know.
Okay.
But there may be some compensation for you, Rennie. All's not lost yet. Okay.
Okay.
Please call us Monday, and let's see what we can do.
Okay. Can you give me that number again?
Sure. Office is 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. You can speak with Holly, my paralegal, or one of my intake people, and I promise you, I'll give you a call next week. We'll look at it. We'll get you in. We'll see what we can do. Okay?
All right.
Thank you for listening, Rennie, this morning. And please join the show and follow us. This is what we're here for. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too.
All right. God bless her. She's working. She's trying to make a living, taking care of people. Sounds like she got tattooed. She should have got a lawyer. There's enough plaintiff lawyers on TV. Somebody would have looked at that case. Had to be video footage. Maybe not video footage now. Oh, by the way, I got a case coming up this week. If you're in Blount County, come up to Blount County. Chris Hansen of To Catch a Predator. I get to cross-examine him in a suppression hearing Tuesday. You don't get to do that every day. Come up to Blount County and watch that. Should be a really, really good cross-examination. All right, folks, it's 7:47. We have finished our third live show. What started as a podcast in a basement is now a live radio show for you, the Birmingham market. Every Saturday, 6 to 8, WERC. The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram. Birmingham's street fighting, road running, scotch drinking lawyer to talk about your legal needs and issues that you have. Next week, we're going to have a really good guest. I think we're going to have a former judge that does divorce mediation. It is that time of year. It's divorce season. He's going to give you the lowdown on why mediation is such a good tool in divorces. We've had, just to recap the show, we had Greg, a former client, charged with aggravated child abuse. Pled all the way down to a Class B misdemeanor. Unsupervised probation. He was looking at a Class A felony. 10 years to 99 years in a state penitentiary, which would have been a life sentence for him. He's close to my age. And he's a free man now for 2025. Good for him. God love him. We had Denise, who believes in unicorns and tooth fairies, fighting capital murder cases up in Indiana for free. God love her. That's a lot of stress, a lot of liability, a lot of work. She did it free. She got the best possible outcome for that client. They didn't go to prison for life. They didn't get the death penalty. They didn't get the chair. They didn't get the needle. They're going to serve about 40 years. They're probably going to get out and spend the rest of their living days free if they get out of jail. Good for her. Thank you for your time, Denise. Loved talking to you. And Rennie, we appreciate you listening in and following the show this morning. That's what we're trying to do. We'll be back every Saturday, folks. We're in for the long haul now. We're going to go straight through till Memorial Day, every Saturday morning, live 6 to 8. You can listen to this on iHeartRadio. You can listen on my podcast. You can listen to it on Apple Tunes, Spotify, YouTube. Check us out, joeingramlaw.com, joeingramlaw.com. Phone number at the office is 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. We do criminal and family law from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, Tuscaloosa, and even the Dothan area if you have serious money. It's an inside joke. You know what it means. Give us a call. We'll talk to you about it. This is our time of the year. We crank up. The circus starts to town, and a big, big week for us this week. So we've had a really good Saturday morning. I'm about to go hit the streets here in about 13 minutes. I'm coming, Jemison Trail. I have my mittens. I have my goo. I have my Gatorade. I'm going to get my 10 miles in. I'm almost up to 50 miles a week now. I saw somebody yesterday. He said, Joe, how much weight have you lost? I said, I'm down almost 60 pounds. He said, how you do that? I said, you put the fork down. You run a lot. You drink water. By the way, folks, it's dry January. I'm on the wagon. I'm not drinking scotch right now. Unless you send me a bottle for free, then I might drink it. I always drink a free bottle of scotch. I always love a free bottle of scotch on a Friday afternoon. So that recaps the show. We talked about Brad and Pitt's divorce. We talked about President Trump coming to town January 20th. Judge Roberts has put him on notice. Fannie got spanked again over in Georgia. We love spanking Fannie. The one case we didn't really get to talk about, we're going to talk about next week. There's a crypto case. It's really big news with the Gen Z crowd. There is a young lady, Haley Welch. Her company got sued over her crypto coin called Hawk Tua Meme Coin. She promoted it on social media. This is a big deal, folks. Cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, $100,000 a piece right now. The coin tanked in one day. Lost 95% of its value to the tune of, I believe it's like $440 million. Not pretty. It's ugly. It's coming. If you have a crypto case, call me. We handle crypto cases. We're going to be talking a little bit about that in the next couple of weeks. We're writing some blogs on that coming up on my website. Cryptocurrency is the new coming market for litigation. It really is. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to give you some information on it. I even represented a gentleman out of Oklahoma that had a crypto case. And I'm going to see if I can wrangle him in from his cattle ranch to talk about his crypto case that he came to Birmingham. The judge didn't know anything about it. He didn't understand the technology. He said, but Joe, it just sounds like a theft case to me. Yes, sir, it is. It's a theft case. We got him some money back from that crypto case. So We're getting close to the end of the hour here. Thank you for listening. Be a part of our show. We're trying to grow this every week. Give us feedback on what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. Oh, we also like the negative commentary, too, about the commercials. Thank you. We know you're out there. Yes, I'm a God-fearing person. Thank you for condemning me to hell and not knowing my story. Thank you. If you'd like to call me, I'll share with you why we do this. I'm here to help people with their legal needs every Saturday for you. And I enjoy this, getting up at 5:45. I would normally be on the street, but I get to do this with my producer. We stand here, we look at each other. He tries to look awake. I'm pouring coffee in his veins. I'm keeping him alive. So let's talk about my final thought of the week. I did this a couple of weeks ago. This is really important, folks, for people that want to be a lawyer. Do not start a legal career because it looked cool in Suits, the show. Your parents are a lawyer. You want to be a millionaire. You want to impress some people. You think it is all about secret deals. Start a legal career because you want to help people. You want to continue to learn. You're curious about how things work. You want to navigate rules for solutions. You like to solve puzzles. Maybe you like to solve puzzles every day. This is a legal industry. It is a slow and ever-changing field that keeps you on your toes to serve the people who need your help. And the law's biggest secret, it's a lifelong mindset game. You have to play the long game. If you're not willing to grow and change your mind, then don't become a lawyer. And perhaps be an adult. To win, you have to grow, change, repeat. Grow, change, repeat every day. That is my motto. That's my philosophy. That's what we live by. We try to do every week. That's my parting word. Thank you for being a part of my show this week. We hope to be a part of your Saturday morning routine with a cup of coffee and discuss whatever you want to talk about. Just to tease it up, next week, thank you for listening. We hope to have a former judge that's a mediator that does divorce cases here in Birmingham, Alabama. Why mediation is such an effective tool in a divorce case or in a child custody case. Again, Legal Lowdown, Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the street-running, scotch-drinking lawyer fighting for you every Saturday morning. We enjoy this so much. Get out there, enjoy it. It's a cold, chilly, but bright, sunny Saturday. I'm about to go hit the streets through Mountain Brook. Don't hit me with the car. Have a good weekend, folks. We got to go.
Thanks for
Bye.
tuning into the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's own Joe Ingram of Ingram Law. Don't forget to follow Joe's Legal Lowdown podcast on iHeart. If you need a private legal consultation, reach out to Joe on his website, joeingramlaw.com. Tune in again next Saturday at 6 a.m. for the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.